Today, we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson. Is he as big of a tool as he seems, or is he just a likable troll that's making smart moves in the new media space? Let's investigate. Welcome to another episode of Catching You Up with
Nadav, it's okay to die.
I'd like to thank today's executive producer, Ashley Milishkowski. Without her help, I'd be selling counterfeit Supreme fanny packs over in Little Mexico. And if you'd like to become a producer of this show, you can go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe right now. So Tucker Carlson, huge cuck or what? Everyone's gut probably says yes. Tucker was born in San Francisco. His mother left the family when he was 6 years old and they never saw her again. Tucker's father then married Patricia Carolyn Swanson, who was the heiress to the Swanson Enterprise. Tucker grew up how you'd expect. His father was the president of a major broadcasting corporation, a U.S. ambassador, and a director of a lobbying firm. He briefly attended a boarding school in Switzerland that he was kicked out of for reasons that are unknown. He then attended a boarding school in Rhode Island where he met his future wife, the daughter of his school's headmaster. So far, research points to Tucker Carlson fucks. Graduating from Trinity College in 1992, Tucker applied to the CIA, which he was rejected from. With some encouragement from his father, Tucker's journalism career began. His father told him that in journalism, they'll take anybody. And that makes me think that Tucker's dad was pretty funny. I know that if I got turned down from my dream job, my dad would probably tell me something along the lines of, you know, I had a buddy that I grew up with that also got rejected from his dream job, and he killed himself. And that would be his advice to me, and that's kind of funny. But Tucker went, Dad, I got turned down from my dream job. What should I do? And Tucker's dad was like, well, I don't know, dude. You could either like go to a community college and, you know, get a janitorial degree, or I could call my, buddy Jeff in the news to see if he could put you in something. Many people know Tucker from his days at Fox News, but he started at CNN, where he co-hosted a short-lived show called The Spin Room. Many point to Jon Stewart's appearance on Crossfire's Tucker Carlson's last moments on CNN.
I made a special effort to come on the show today because I have mentioned this show as being bad. And I felt that wasn't fair, and I should come here and tell you that it's not so much that it's bad as it's hurting America.
Jon Stewart pointed out issues with partisan media.
The thing is, we need your help. Right now you're helping the politicians and the corporations, and we're left out there to mow our lawns.
You just said we're too rough on them when they make mistakes.
No, you're not too rough on them. You're part of their strategies. You're partisan, hacks.
Tucker and his co-host Paul Begala failed at bullying Jon Stewart to admit that Comedy Central was worse at journalism than CNN.
You have a chance to interview the Democratic nominee. You ask him questions such as, quote, how are you holding up? Is it hard not to take the attacks personally?
Yeah.
Have you ever flip-flopped, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
Didn't you feel like you got the chance to interview the guy? Why not ask him a real question instead of just suck up to him?
I actually was giving him a hot stone massage.
It sounded that way.
As we were doing it.
It did.
I didn't realize that, and maybe this explains quite a bit.
No, the opportunity.
Is that the news organizations look to Comedy Central for their cues on integrity. So.
Right. It was a very dumb look and possibly one of the last times that we saw Tucker with a bow tie. Tucker then had a one-year stint at PBS, followed by 3 years at NBC, and then after that, in 2016, he began hosting Tucker Carlson Tonight on Fox News. The premiere episode of the show was the network's most watched episode of the year, bringing in 3.7 million views. It was Fox News where Tucker had some of his most notable moments. My most memorable moment of his was when he tried to debate Bill Nye the Science Guy.
But the essence of science is extreme skepticism. We always ought to be asking ourselves, is my hypothesis true?
I'm a member of both skeptic organizations, Mr. Carlson, and this is climate change denial is denial. The evidence is overwhelming. Don't get me wrong. I love you as a person more than life itself, but the evidence for climate change is overwhelming.
So Dan, before the name calling begins, and before you try to end the conversation, let's start it by asking what exactly you mean. Now,
why would you do that to Bill? He's so nice, dude.
To what degree is climate change caused by human activities? 100% of climate change is caused by human activity? Is it 74.3%? It's settled science.
So the word degree is a word that you chose, but the speed that climate change is happening is caused by humans.
Starting in 2018, a series of advertising boycotts started on Tucker's show. This started because of a statement he said during his broadcast.
We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided.
When Fox News host Tucker Carlson made those comments last Thursday, critics called for advertisers to pull their ads.
By 2019, nearly 50 advertisers claimed that they were done advertising on Tucker's show. 50 is a lot. During his time on Fox News, Tucker was bringing in monster numbers. In 2020, he was averaging 4.33 million viewers nightly. This broke the record as the highest-rated news program in cable news history. A Mediate report claimed that in October of 2022, Tucker was the most-watched news anchor amongst Democrats. Among Democrats? Amongst Democrats. That doesn't sound right. So what kind of money does a network pay an anchor that brings in those kinds of numbers? $20 million a year. $20 million a year to complain about how the Green M&M is less fuckable than ever.
The Green M&M, you will notice, is no longer wearing sexy boots. Now she's wearing sensible sneakers. Why? Well, according to M&M's, quote, we all win when we see more women in leading roles. Because leading women do not wear sexy boots. Leading women wear frumpy shoes. The frumpier, the better. That's the rule.
Not a bad gig. Tucker is a prime example of how hate drives numbers. And that makes sense to me. I mean, whenever I travel and I go to a hotel, you know what the first thing I'm turning on the TV is? Fox News. And I cross my fingers that Tucker is on. And it filled a role. I knew it was mostly nonsense, but it was entertaining to me. Maybe I'm the problem. But a lot of people love controversy, and Tucker is not afraid to bring it. He knows what he's doing. At times, Tucker seems like a normal dude that you would want to grab a beer with. The first thing that demonstrated that to me was, I don't know if you guys remember this, but a while ago, some dude came up and found Tucker fly fishing in Central Park. He approached him in a way where it seemed like he was trying to provoke him, and you could see the gears turning where he was like, is this a friend or a foe at first?
How you doing?
Great.
I didn't know you could fish here.
What's that?
It's called a video camera.
Are you videotaping me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you're in public, I can.
Well, I know you can.
Okay.
I'm not challenging your right. I just want to know why you
I find it interesting that you're fishing in Central Park.
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely allowed.
Okay.
It's allowed in 3 ponds. It's allowed in the pond.
I've never seen anybody fish here before.
But then he was just like, fuck it. There's no harm in this. Let me teach this guy about fly fishing.
And what do you use for bait?
I fly fish, so I use flies.
Do you catch the flies yourself?
No, flies are, I'll show you.
Oh, those are the things you make.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, the string. I'm stupid. I don't fly fish.
Oh, you're on YouTube? Oh, tell me about your YouTube channel. That's so great.
So when you videotape people, and I don't mind.
Right.
But I bet you some people do.
Yeah, they assault me sometimes.
Is that true?
Yeah, it makes for good video, though.
What do you do with the video?
I put it up on my channel. I have a lot of people that follow me.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's great.
I have about 15,000 people that follow me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so neat.
I also particularly enjoyed his appearance on Theo Von's podcast.
Once you try this, you're going to get a lot richer.
Zyn? Is that their advertising campaign?
Zyn is not a sin. That's the advertising campaign.
Really?
Yeah, but the truth is Zyn is a powerful work enhancer and also a male enhancer, if you know what I mean.
Really?
Yeah.
Talking erection, huh?
Yep.
You hear him say things where you're like, oh, this is what Tucker the person is like, and not Tucker the representative of Fox or CNN or PBS or MSNBC.
And I'm sober like 18 months. I would overdose easy.
You're sober 18 months?
Yep. One of the reasons I don't do cocaine anymore is because they fucking ruined it.
Why?
With the fentanyl.
It used to be this baby laxative.
Yeah, but I'd rather shit than die, you know?
I agree with that completely.
I mean, you know?
And as much as it pains me to say it, he ain't bad. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves right now, but on his new show, he brought on Alex Jones and just played a clip for him where Jones was shitting on someone that Tucker really didn't like. And just look at his reaction afterwards.
And I always thought he was awkward and weird and probably had a super creepy personal life, but I never took him seriously. There's a pretty famous clip, and I want to play it right now, of you critiquing Brian Stelter.
Hell on earth. He wants to run your life. He wants to control every aspect of your life because he knows he is a cowardly, degenerate sack of anti-human trash. I see you, enemy. I see you, enemy. 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 You are my enemy. You don't think I don't see you, Stelter? I see you. You understand me? I know what you think of me and my family. I see you right back. You understand that?
I've only watched that several hundred times.
How is that not relatable? And that takes me to the next chapter in Tucker's career. Tucker on X. He has publicly stated that these massive networks made him feel like he needed to self-silence his own speech. Aw, poor Tucker. Podcasts and YouTube and new media in general have been a way for content creators to avoid reporting to executives or suits at the top of the pyramid. There's no agenda that you now need to follow other than your own. And if you get eyeballs, you can monetize your show, either through sponsors or your own Patreon type of subscription. So Tucker made a move that I actually think was kind of smart. He decided that he was going to do his own show and he was going to broadcast it on X, formerly known as Twitter. His first episode was seen 120 million times. But the word seen is important here because X's metrics on how something is interacted with is off from the way that we would classically think. If someone is just scrolling their feed and they land on that video and they stay on it for like 3 or 4 seconds, that'll be counted as a view even though they didn't watch the whole thing or the majority of it or a chunk of it. His recent uploads on X get somewhere between 2 and 10 million views. And although X's system isn't perfect, it's still nice to see companies attempting to compete with the monopoly that is YouTube. Don't get me wrong, I think YouTube is great. It's number one because it works so well. But I think competition is good for the market. So when I see creators flock to X, OnlyFans, Rumble, that shit is exciting to me. Tucker's new show is hosted in a cabin studio. You can tell it's expertly framed and lit. It's intentionally trying to make it seem like it's a small production out of Tucker's house. Tucker doesn't live there. And Tucker has had some extremely fun guests. He had Alex Jones on. He had Kyle Rittenhouse on, which was kind of weird.
My biggest supporters have been Christians. Mostly a lot of people on the conservative side of things. People who believe in the rule of law.
And he had Kid Rock and John Daly on, which was fucking awesome.
So you met on a golf course?
I didn't even golf.
I
hated golf. You're like, why don't you golf? I'm like, it's gay.
Did you get a little gayer once you started?
Oh, I'm completely gay now. I love golf.
He also platformed a lunatic that said he smoked crack and filleted Barack Obama.
So Barack Obama smokes crack and then you perform oral sex on him.
And like I said, the only reason I had come out about it is I had reached out to the campaign even in 2007, only because I saw all these kids getting excited about it.
Okay, wait,
What? Now, I've worked with Dr. Drew long enough to know that crack can cause some delusions. We've had some wild weekends. But Tucker doesn't care. He also knows that none of that happened. But he also knows that this is entertaining as fuck to consume. And that the news will probably pick up that he had this lunatic on his show. The kid is smart. It's clear to see that Tucker is experimenting creatively. This Christmas, he had Kevin Spacey on his show, a man who has been accused of multiple sexy crimes.
Is there anyone in this country of 350 million people who could jump in at this late date and re-scramble the calculus of electoral politics? And the question is, will he get in this cycle? And that's my question for you.
Well, that's really a decision for the people, Tucker. It's not something that I really think about or want to do. And Merry Christmas to you, too.
X allows Tucker to get access to over 556 million users. X also pays out their creators based on impressions and interactions. From X, users might go to Tucker's website, where they'll subscribe for a premium to bonus content. He doesn't need to worry about demonetization or these platforms taking down his videos, because he's using all these platforms as a funnel to his premium subscription. Sure, he'll keep posting to Facebook, YouTube, X, but that's all just extra money that he doesn't need. It's all just a funnel. And X will have to continue making structural advances in the way that it's set up in monetization. Sure, it's able to convince creators like Tucker Carlson who are new to the space that, hey, this is a good deal. But Mr. Beast was asked why he's not posting his content on X. He said, is not being fairly compensated. I'm not one of those obnoxiously left, right, or center that's like, oh, fake stream media fucking sucks. Even though it kind of does, but like, I don't give a shit. But I wonder who the next person to follow this model will be. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. And that has been another episode of Catching You Up with
the Nadav. It's so great.
I would like to thank all the producers that you're currently seeing on the screen. Without their help, I wouldn't be able to put out this content as consistently as I currently am. And if you'd like to become a producer of this show, you can go ahead and click the Patreon link in the description below. Thank you for joining me for another installment of this show, but most importantly, please remember,
This is a totally unconfirmed news.